Today, we're looking at things you never knew about police cars. We'll see how they differ from the average civilian car as we explore some of the custom features and the latest cutting-edge technologies. We'll see some of the coolest and fastest police cars in the world, and we'll also debunk some common myths along the way. So buckle up and let's get going. You know how in the movies a cop will leave his police car unattended and then a criminal jumps in and drives off? That might have been true in the old days, but actually, these days that's pure Hollywood. It can't happen in real life due to a cop car feature called Run Lock. It allows police officers to remove the keys but still leave the car running to keep powering the radio, lights, and surveillance system without draining the battery. So if you ever get tempted to steal a police car, just don't. The system automatically turns off the engine. If it even detects that the driver is trying to shift out of park without a key, you'll fail dismally, and my guess is you might even be charged with attempted theft or larceny. Ever wonder how bulletproof cop cars are? Most American police cars that are newer than 2015 are generally bulletproof, but there's a small amount of older cars which aren't. In March 2016, it was announced that police vehicles would have doors and windows that can prevent penetration of armor-piercing bullets. The Ford Police Interceptor utility SUV doors can withstand ammunition that's more powerful than what U.S. soldiers carry. It can block a .30 caliber bullet from an AK-47 or other powerful rifle. The ballistic panels nearly cover the entire door and is made of 2 layers. The inner layer is made of aramid fiber, which is similar to Kevlar, a fabric that is 5 times stronger than steel. And the outer layer is made of ballistic-grade ceramic tile. The combined strength of these layers means that the same area can be shot at twice and still withstand penetration. In 2017, all NYPD patrol cars got outfitted with bullet-resistant window inserts at the front and sides. Of course, bulletproofing a cop car isn't cheap. Even the lightest protective armor can run anywhere from $20,000 to $25,000. Something else to consider is the extra weight. Bulletproof materials are heavy and thick. The armor alone can add an extra 400 to 1,200 pounds. So now you have to reinforce the suspension, frame, tires, and some other components. Also, a heavier weight means the car will require more fuel, and it will slow down the cop car in hot pursuit. So, further reason for a more powerful engine. When it comes to the average civilian car, we gauge the car's age and usage in miles, and the odometer is usually the first place to check. But did you know that police cars are measured in hours instead, like boats? Each police car is equipped with an hour meter to keep track of the hours that the car has been on, whether it's driving or even idling. And that makes sense if you consider how often police keep their cars idling in park or neutral. Ever wonder why officers leave their cars on even when they aren't sitting inside? Well, police cruisers are fitted with a lot of electronics and equipment. We're talking about laptop computers and radio systems, and all these require a cool environment to operate correctly. So cops often keep their cars running to maintain climate control and protect the equipment from extreme temperatures. Another reason is that computers must be constantly connected to keep officers informed of what's happening in the area. But it's not just about the computers and devices. Police officers are also first responders trained for certain types of medical emergencies. They're not paramedics, but they do carry certain medications that must remain cool to be effective. For example, Narcan, which is for opiate overdose. If the car is turned off and the medicine gets exposed to extreme temperature, then the officers risk losing large doses of necessary medication. Also, some police units also have service dogs. K9 cruisers must be equipped with special equipment, including a modified cooling system to provide proper ventilation and climate for the furry cops. One thing is for certain, if you're looking to buy a retired cop car, don't just go by mileage alone. Mileage itself won't tell you how long the car's been idling. Since police cars do a lot of idling, the true age of a retired cop car will actually be a multiple of the recorded mileage. It's a common question. Should you buy a retired police car? If you haven't seen my video on Ford police cars, check it out. Let's talk about the Siren. More recently, police cars have been using a new technology. It's called the Rumbler, and it's proving to be effective in dense areas with heavy traffic. The sound is a mix of siren and a low-frequency tone that you can literally feel from inside your car. The system uses a pair of high-output subwoofers to amplify the low-frequency tone, enabling you to literally feel it from 300 feet away. Imagine how your heart would beat after that. Police cars use different sounds for different situations. Talking about the wail, yelp, and howl. For example, when a police car is driving at high speed in approaching the intersection, it'll use the classic wail. The purpose of the penetrating frequency is to grab your attention. Then there's the yelp. Basically, it's an accelerated wail. You can hear it usually in heavy traffic situations. And if you still hesitate to get the way out, you'll most likely hear the air horn. The howler is a cross between low frequency and siren sound effects. That sound is used to alert vehicles up ahead to move out of the way. Believe it or not, the very first police car in America used a gong as its siren. That was 1899 in Akron, Ohio. At the time, the police squad was using an electrically powered buggy that went up to 16 miles an hour with its 4-horsepower motors. The car, if you can call it that, weighed 2.5 tons, about the same weight as the average SUV today. But just a year later, during the riot of 1900, rioters pushed the car into a canal. I guess it didn't help that the buggy wasn't fast enough to outpace the people. So which country in the world has the coolest cop cars? Well, my vote goes to the United Arab Emirates. If you're a police officer in Dubai, you have the chance to get behind the wheel of a high-performance supercar. Over in Dubai, many citizens are wealthy and have hypercars, so it's not for flash, but a necessity that the Dubai police supercars are driven for hot pursuits. Well, and the flash inherently follows. Guess who holds the world's record for the fastest police car? It's a Bugatti Veyron owned by the Dubai police. They bought it in 2016 for $1.6 million. Believe it or not, it's not the only supercar in their fleet. Their lineup includes the Lamborghini Aventador, Bentley GT, Aston Martin 177, several Porsche Panoramas, and several BMW i8s. And don't forget the Ferrari FF with its 6.2-liter V12 engine that outputs 651 horsepower. They're the fastest and most fashionable fleet in the world. The capital of the United Arab Emirates is at Par. Abu Dhabi's newest recruit is the Lykan Hypersport. It's only one of 7 of its kind to exist in the world. Top speed is 242 miles an hour with this twin-turbo flat-6 engine. Italians aren't too far behind. The Italy's highway patrol have at their disposal the Lamborghini Hurricane. We're talking about a 5.2-liter V10 engine and puts out 602 horsepower. This Lambo hits 60 miles an hour in 3.2 seconds and has a top speed of 202 miles an hour. It actually replaced the Lamborghini Gallardo they previously had. Am I the only one wishing someone could organize a global cop car race? But now let's talk about American police cars. In America, the fastest police car is actually a truck. The 2021 Ford F-150 Police Responder is custom tailored with a cop motor, cop tires, cop suspension, cop shock absorbers, and other cop enhancements. The Responder comes equipped with a 3.5-liter EcoBurst V6 engine that's coupled with a 10-speed automatic transmission and a torque-on-demand transfer case for the 4x4 system. But what makes it the fastest police car in the United States is that it can accelerate from 0 to 60 in 5.9 seconds. If you haven't seen my latest video, Why Ford Makes the Best Police Cars, check it out. By the way, have you heard about how Ford has been helping police officers and first responders remain safe during the pandemic? Last year, Ford developed new software for the latest models of the Ford Police Interceptor utility. It raises the vehicle's internal temperature above 133 degrees Fahrenheit, which is hotter than Death Valley on a hot day. And it does this for 15 minutes, which is long enough to reduce the viral concentration inside the car by more than 99%. You probably don't want to be caught napping in that car, though, when it kicks in. Of course, nowadays, we can identify a police car just by their flashing red and blue lights. But have you wondered why police lights are red and blue? Most people assume it's because the general public associates the color red with stopping. Some studies have shown that red lights are more visible during the day, and blue lights are more visible at night. Also, color red has the longest wavelength in the color spectrum, so it's best in foggy conditions. So red and blue are the best combination to alert drivers regardless of the time or day. In addition, drivers who are colorblind to red can often see blue without any problem. Let's talk about other modifications in police cars. Common custom upgrade is the alternator to support the extra power needed for the radios, lights, and surveillance equipment and computers. To put this in context, a civilian vehicle's alternator delivers 100 amps of power, whereas the alternators in a police car can crank up to 225 amps or even more. And of course, all this extra equipment will make the car heavier, but it still must remain agile enough to pursue speeding vehicles. In order to compensate for this, there are custom modifications of the suspension and braking systems. In addition to this, police cars are remarkably customized in other ways as well. Take, for example, the Ford Police Interceptor utility vehicle. It has a column shifter instead of a console shifter to free up space in a console for other equipment. It also makes it easier for the officer to exit. Other customizations, including rear doors that open at different angles, so it's easier to load people in the back. Even the seats in a police car are modified to account for the officer's utility belt and everything that's on on it. Here's another interesting technology. Many police cars are now equipped with data-driven approach to crime and traffic safety. Sounds very techy, but basically it's automated surveillance. To illustrate, while the police car is patrolling, the surveillance system regularly takes high-resolution images that get cross-referenced to the police database of wanted vehicles to help police find criminals. After all, how many license plates numbers can a guy remember every day? But now, you tell me, what cars do law enforcement officers in your city drive? Please comment below and share any funny or horror stories you've had about police cars. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for your support.